guys, it's Angela with Word and Home. Come on in. This one is still Christmas, so I guess it would be kind of like a last minute Christmas idea. And so I was thrifting, yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday. I was thrifting and I saw this stocking and I thought, well, that's not a Santa hat, but I think I can do something with it. So that's where the inspiration comes for this. And so we have this stocking. Now, I've already done some stuff to it, you guys. I had to do some prep work on it. And so when I shared a picture of it, it was, normal, the bright red. Thank you for sprinkling, Rhea. The red and the white. Well, I wanted to dirty it up because I kind of want it to look a little more primitive. I can't talk. So what I did was I took some coffee and cooled it and put it in a spray bottle, and I added a little bit of vanilla to that, and then I just sprayed it down, and you can see some of it on here. And I sprayed it down and I had to let it set because this is thick, so when it gets wet it takes it a while. So I set it outside, and then it wasn't quite dark enough, so I sprayed it again and set it outside. And so that's kind of the basics on this. I did it all the way around, and you can see how white it was because I didn't spray, the underside of this. So that's where we are starting, and I kind of want it to have that primitive kind of grungy look, and we're going to do some more of that today. And I've got some stuff to go on it, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So we're going to do our stocking, and I thought to kind of dirty it up and grunge it up just a little bit more, I could use some Distress ink. You could probably use more coffee on it and soak it longer if you wanted to get it even dirtier. But I added a little bit of Distress ink there. You can see it already. And so I'm going to take some more Distress ink and add it to it. And then we're going to go from there, and we're going to add lots of fun things. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of add this in a few spots. And I have a spot to show you. It's kind of funny. I mean, it was kind of a happy accident, but I was trying to dry it with my heat gun because I got impatient. And I got my heat gun just a little too close right here, and it melted it a little bit, but that kind of added to the grungy look. So I was like, I'm not hating it too bad, but that's what happens when you get impatient. So you can just take, if you want to grunge it up, just depends on how you want it, how much. And you can add your Distress ink. I'm going to add just a little bit more up here along the top. And like I said, this was just thrifted, so I love to work with thrifted stuff. Do you guys like to find thrifted finds and just see what you can do with them? I just think they're so fun. Okay. So you can see on the top there on that fur how I just kind of dirtied it up just a little bit. Add a little bit on the hook. I think I probably will hang this. I thought about maybe trying to set it up, but I don't think I can set it really anywhere. So I'm probably just going to hang it when I get it all done. Okay, and then, so I'm going to set this over here. And just know, if you're going to work with your Distress ink, it takes it a while to dry down. So be careful with it. Hi, Carla. So you don't get it on your clothing and stuff. Now, I have some, I used a lot of coffee stained fabric for this. I tore some just strips of, I think this was like a white fabric that I bought, probably at Hobby Lobby. I probably bought 2 or 3 yards of it. Thank you for sprinkling, Carla. And I just tore it in strips. And then I just soak these in coffee and vanilla, I've done tea before, but what I do is we have a Keurig, and so I always have leftover grounds still in my little pod in there, and I just run the water through it again, and it would be too weak to drink, but it works great for staining stuff like this. So I just soak these in there, and then if I'm in a hurry to dry them, I'll usually just pop them in the oven and let them dry just a few minutes, and they dry really quickly. And then, so of course I had to do that ahead of time. And then I also took another piece of material, and I just stamped S claws on it because this is going to be Santa's stocking. So we're going to put this on the top, and then we're going to add some little snowflakes. And I had a really hard time coming up with, because I wanted to initially stencil some snowflakes on here, but y'all know how fuzzy this material is, and I don't know if you've ever tried to stamp or stencil on this stuff. It's just almost impossible. So what I decided to do was I created some little snowflakes on Canva. And I didn't really create them, but I got them off Canva, and I printed them out on paper, and then I just took my material that I had already tea stained and dried, taped it on that paper, just like I've shown you before. I've done some videos with tissue paper. I do the same thing with material, and then I just printed my snowflakes on that material, and then I just kind of cut them out. You know, it was too tedious to cut it out more than this, but I thought this was good enough. And so these are going to be the snowflakes that go on here. This one doesn't have a top on it because it's going to butt up to the top like that. Okay, so we're going to be adding those, and then let me see, then we'll put some stuff inside. But first we're just going to go ahead, and I thought it would be kind of fun to stitch this on here on the top for his name, for Santa's little stocking there. I don't know, I'm having problems with my needle and thread, so I just glued this on here. Okay, it says S Claus, and later, hi Diane, I may go back and add some stitching. Okay, so we've got his tag on there. It's labeled, and now I'm gonna put the snowflakes that I showed you. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of, and see, this one is kind of, the tip is cut off. So what I'm going to do is just kind of tuck it up under this, okay? And I'm going to glue it back on there. And I'm just using some craft glue. I think once this dries down, it'll hold it on there just fine. And you really don't need a lot, because this material is just so lightweight. So just a little bit of this glue, because I have found that if you use too much of it on projects like this, you can still see it, you know, once it dries down. So I try to use it sparingly. Okay, but I think, thank you, Sue. I think it's gonna look really good. It's gonna have a primitive vibe to it. And like I said earlier, I don't do a whole lot of primitive stuff, but it's not that I don't like it per se. It's just, it's not necessarily my style, but I had to try this because I really loved the look of those Santa hats. Okay, so we've got that on there. Now we're gonna add another one, and you could add anything that you wanted on here. And I'm gonna kind of keep the snowflakes to this side, because this will be hanging over here on the left, and I don't want it to cover anything up. Okay. So I've got a little bit of glue on that one. And I'm just gonna press that on there. And I'm gonna show you guys, I did fray the edges of my snowflakes. If you can see the material there, I just kind of pulled those threads out and tried to fray those. I really wanted them to look worn. That's how we're looking so far. Now, I may go back and add some more Distress ink to it. But now I'm just going to use this. I don't know if I want to do like a little bow. I may just kind of tie a knot here and just kind of let it hang down. I'm going to have to trim some of those off and then put something in the middle there. Okay. Definitely going to have to trim these up because they're not all the same length. And I don't care if they're all the same length, but let's just tie. I'm thinking maybe we'll just tie a knot in the middle. I'm going to kind of tie it tight. And then Just kind of mess with it because I want it to hang. Oh, thanks, Rhea. I think that's cute. And I like bows too. Because I thought about tying a bow. So we could just let it hang like this. Okay, and I do have some cute little light bulbs that we can stick with it. So we could do that. Or I could tie a bow on top. I just don't. Like I have one of these that I did not get grouped in there. So we could just tie a simple little bow. And we could put it on top. Kind of like that. And then just stick it on there. So I could do that. That would be cute. Just kind of simple. Oh, thanks, Diane. This is, and I didn't want, this is not fancy. Like I said, I want it to have, you know, just a really primitive look. So I'm going to cut the ends off of some of these, and then we'll fray those ends. Okay. This material frays fairly easily, pretty quickly usually. You know, how old is Santa? He's been around for a long time, so his stocking's gonna be pretty old, right? Pretty old and frayed and okay. So let me show you what we did yesterday. And this is where we ended up yesterday. So I just had this red fuzzy stocking that I thrifted, and I grunged it up, and we put the S claws on here, okay, and I stitched the corners there, and then we put some snowflakes on the front that were printed on material, and then we put our little, it's gonna have a bow on top with our little rusty clothespin right there. So that's what we got done yesterday. Hi, Diane. So today we're gonna finish it up. So what I wanted to do was put a little bow on top, and we're just gonna glue this on top here. And then we've got a few more things. I'm gonna put sew a bell on there, and we're gonna add some final touches that I think will make a difference. So you guys keep on coming in, keep on saying hello if you're just hopping in. Okay, so there's our little bow on there, cute. Okay, and we can grunge that up some more if we want to. And then I was looking through my stash, and I had this bell. This was just a Dollar Tree bell that I rusted up and grunged up. And so I thought we're gonna add that to the top. And I think I'm just gonna use my needle, and we're gonna attach it with some needle and thread. We're gonna give it a whirl. If that doesn't work, I'm just gonna glue it on there, but we're gonna try. So how's everybody doing? Are you ready for Christmas? I was just talking to, I put a post on my page about that. I was like, who's ready? You know, who's ready for Christmas? And I still have a couple more things that I could buy and that I need to buy. Just some last minute like stocking stuffers. So anyway, okay, let's put this last one in here. And then I'm just gonna cut this off. And this should be the last thing that I sew on here. I think I'm gonna do, not really sew, but bare minimum stitched on here. And then everything else, I'm just gonna hot glue, I think. I'm never this much on top of things. That's good. I'm so glad, Rhea. I'm never on top of things. I'll just tell you. And if I am, I'm always like, what did I forget? Because I know I forgot something. Because I'm never, yeah, I'm like that. I'm like, if I'm prepared for something, I always think I've forgotten something. Okay, so there's our little Rusty Bell. Okay, like I said, you can glue that on there. Right now, I think it's okay. I may, you know, just glue it on there. I mean, it's really going to be just as good, and you don't want it to be too loose. So just hot glue that sucker. So we've got that on there. I have some sprigs of greenery. We're going to add some greenery inside of here too. But I have some little sprigs of greenery. And I think just to bring a little bit of color down here, we're going to put a little bit of greenery on our bow. Sorry, my dogs are going to bark. Okay, I'm trying to decide where to tuck this, but I think this will give us a nice little pop of color. And I just used just a sprig. I think I actually cut it off of just a little, you know, one of those little greenery pieces that you buy for Christmas. And I always save all that stuff. Okay. So there's that. Cute. Gives us a little bit of color. And then I have these two little Christmas bulbs. Okay, and they actually look vintage because they're kind of chippy. You know, the paint's got some spots on them. So I think we will tie those up there somehow. Or maybe we'll just, I don't know. I think if I tie them, they might look better hanging a little bit loose. Okay. So I would use string, but this will fit. This is twine. I'm just gonna stick it through the tops. And then we're just gonna put it right here. Look how cute those are. Okay, so you guys, here's what we're gonna put some stuff inside of here. Okay, so this is just a little pick from, I don't know, probably Walmart or Hobby Lobby, maybe Hobby Lobby. So just have this, and so we're gonna put this inside, but I also want to fill my stocking out a little bit. So we're gonna I'm just gonna put some batting or some polyfill in here, and we're gonna kind of make it stick out a little bit. So, okay. So we're gonna kind of make it, it's gonna kind of stick out a little bit, you know, just a little bit. Okay. So I've got that in there, and this kind of fills our stocking out just a little bit, okay? So when we hang it, it won't be so flat. So we're gonna do that. Okay, so then I'm just gonna kind of push that down in there. That's a bit cute. And then, let me show you, I made a candy cane, okay? And I just used some material from Walmart, and I used, I brought it in here. Oh, I just used one of these candy canes from Walmart, and I took all the candy out, obviously, and then I just wrapped it, okay? I think, yeah, these are about the same. Because I couldn't find any other candy canes, and I thought, well, this will work. So I wrapped this, I added a little bit of cinnamon to distress it just a little bit. And we're gonna tuck this right here in the top. Okay, so when it hangs, it'll look like that. Isn't that cute? Okay, and then we're gonna add one last thing to it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of snow to it. We have some snow on the top, on that pick, on the ornament. So I thought we could just add a few little snowflakes. And I'm just going to use some Mod Podge and drop some of my snow on there to get it to stick. Now you could use glue, You could use just, you know, regular glue for this part too. Maybe we'll put a little bit of snow on our bell. And just a little bit here. Okay, and just a little bit. I'm just going to kind of dab that on there. I'm probably going to make a mess with this snow, but... And this is kind of that big, chunky snow, so we'll see. We'll see how well it sticks. If it sticks to it. If you had some like little finer, maybe just a little bit finer snow, it might work better, but see what I'm saying? I'm just gonna stick a little bit here and there. And maybe put like a little bit on the toe down here. I know you can buy the finer snow that's, you know, not as chunky. And that might adhere just a little bit better. Okay. So then it's just gonna look something like that. So put that on the top. And I could put some spray. I have some spray sealant that I always use. I could take it outside and give it a good spray of that. And I think that will help. I think that'll help kind of hold everything on there. But then I'm just going to kind of hang it on a hook. But I think it turned out sweet. Our little S-Claus Santa's stocking. Put that back down in there just a little bit. And so there you go. This is our little, thank you, Karen. This is our little thrifted stocking. I think it turned out really cute. I may add some more snow to it. And I may see if I have some snow somewhere that's a little finer. And so I may try that. You can add anything to the top of this. I even thought maybe like a tiny, like a long present that you could stick out the top, that you could wrap and stick that out the top. I think that would be really cute. And you could add anything to the front of it. I had an old metal star that would have worked. A rusty metal snowflake. Any of those things would work on there. But yeah, I think it came together really sweet. But thanks for joining me today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.